Hello, welcome to Yates Makes. In my last video, linked up here, I trialled a quick idea I had using a ballpoint pen to emboss paper and then use as a resist, as a way of kind of doing a drawing transfer using the gel plate. So this video is a kind of a follow-on from that. I found it pretty successful, but I wanted to know what if I tried different types of paper, and I hadn't really explored too well in the last video how many repeat transfers I could get from the one drawing or emboss. So this video will cover some of that. It's going to offer a few more drawing ideas as well. I'm finding the one drawback with this technique is how hard you have to press to get that emboss sufficiently deep to then kind of resist and leave a transfer of your drawing on the gel plate. So a few ideas and tips to help you with that as well. Okay, let's have a look how I've been getting on. Okay, first experiment with the most everyday stuff I can find, a sheet of 70 GSM copier paper. So I've done a quick drawing, flipped it, you can see the emboss on the back, inking up in a mix of Amsterdam and Rowney, and I'm just flipping that very simple drawing. You can really beautifully see the emboss there on the back of the sheet, and the paper's holding up and I can feel it's making great contact. With a simple drawing like this I get a great transfer, so I think right, I'm going to go for a more complex drawing. Now the problem with this of course is the harder I press and the more I build up lines, my paper started falling to bits. I had to reinforce it on the back with some masking tape, and it just got more and more fragile as I worked. Probably adding to the fragility here by cutting out some stencil areas that I know I want solid black. Anyway, let's see. So inked up again, exactly the same as before. Hold it up to the camera, you can see this is a very thin, even layer. Again, a mix of Amsterdam and Rowney. So yeah, with my very fragile reinforced transfer drawing, laying it down, and it all went down. It was all going well, made good contact. Obviously I'm pressing, really focusing attention where I'm putting pressure around those stencil shapes, because I want those black parts quite clearly defined. And here's where the problems start. As I go to pull it up, I find that it just starts falling to bits, and the more I try and reposition it, I'm now putting too much pressure on. My lines that I want are becoming indistinct, and yeah, it's generally just not working. It's certainly not usable a second time, which is kind of one of the main objectives of this experiment. So look, abandon it. But I'm not going to give up. So I just go the logical route, which is take some much thicker, as smooth as I can find paper. So this is 240 GSM cartridge paper with a very smooth finish, and again I'm drawing with my ballpoint pen. Note that I'm using a ruler. This was quite a deliberate experiment. Controlling the pressure is quite hard. You need to press hard enough to get an emboss, okay? But that can get quite hard to control the line when you're pressing hard. Certainly for me, who's used to drawing with a lot of control over the pressure I'm putting on. So using a ruler actually really helps, because you can press quite hard and the ruler offers back some resistance to keep control of your lines. So what I'm finding is drawing with a ruler in this way, so some quite geometric forms or some structural shapes, which fortunately for me, I quite like this sort of source material when I'm thinking of ideas to make some art with. So this actually suited my drawing. You can see on the back of this one, because the paper is so much heavier, it's stayed a lot more intact. I can really clearly see the emboss on the back. I'm fairly sure that's going to transfer, and I've got my nice clean stencil shapes for solid areas of black. Okay, inking up again. Let's see how this one turned out. So again, pressure down. This is in real time here, so you get a sense of how long this transfer paper made contact with the plate for, probably already up to 20 seconds. Again, focusing my finger pressure trying not to press too hard because I want to keep some clarity in my line, but I do want to make sure those stencil areas, and you can see it's better, but it's not picking up everything, so I'm just laying it back down and seeing if I can just lift a little more, especially around those stencil shapes. Those of you that are watching this are going to probably already love gel plates, and if you're anything like me, you like the spontaneous kind of textured bits that you get anyway. I mean, what's the point? You might as well just do a drawing, eh? So I actually quite like these little marks that get left behind. I think that's where the character in the prints come from. So I'm quite happy with this. I can see, most importantly, that my line work is really nice and clear. So there you go. This one I felt was worth a pull, so inking up in gel medium, and I'm going to try and lay this over a kind of pre-prepared background. I'll put some links up above now to other videos, but you can check out my gel plate playlist to see how I produce these backgrounds for transferring layers onto. So great thing about the gel plate is it's transparent, so I can flip it over. I'm transferring this with gel medium. Obviously I need it to be transparent so I can see my background through it rather than a kind of opaque coloured acrylic layer. So peeling off, and you can see I've certainly got all the detail of my drawing. Yeah, there's some rough textured parts, and I've actually kind of lost some of the text in my background, but you know, I actually quite like this. Pleasing outcome, definitely. I love the kind of the grey kind of scummy part that's come off of previous prints. I think there's some interesting threads. You've got some strong opinions on these in previous videos. Right, so I thought, right, how is it going to transfer a second time? So this is my second pull with this same drawing transfer. If I hold that up to the camera, you'll see that I've lost a bit of clarity, but it's still in there. I honestly don't think I'd get another one though without going back in and kind of re-embossing my drawing. Okay, moving on. Some 300 GSM watercolour paper, and it's got a kind of very grainy side, and it's got a slightly smoother side. Still quite heavily textured, but it is smoother. So this time not drawing with a ruler, so relying on, you know, pressing fairly hard to try and get a deep enough emboss here, and keeping my lines quite open to see how it looks. So inking up again, mixing some Payne's grey and some black here. You can see a bit of a close-up how the texture of the plate looks. You can pause it there to have a closer look. And again, my transfer drawing goes down. This is in real time, so you get a sense of how long it's on the plate for, and just kind of fingertip pressure, peeling up one edge, and as you can see, the texture on the paper is leaving a kind of grainy film over the whole surface, but my lines, my line work is evident, you know, it has transferred, so this is working as well. I think this paper might give quite a lot of atmosphere to a picture, you know, so it's probably going to lend itself better to certain types of drawing. There you go, in better light with a white background, you can see how well it's transferred, but you can see that very fine grain also all over the gel plate, which has, you know, been created by the texture of the paper. So I thought I'd have some fun with this one, just let that layer dry, and I'm just going to kind of, you know, almost try some sort of painterly effects, really just mixing up some colours, dropping them into the land part in the foreground more, just having a play really to see how it looks, build up some colour, build up some texture, and then pull this off with one layer of wet acrylic once all these initial layers are dry. This was actually a lot of fun. I haven't really done much work like this with the gel plate. I haven't tried, I've intended to. Way back when I worked out that China graph or grease pencils transferred, I did try techniques similar to this, but this I guess is working on a slightly more open area and working alongside and with your initial drawing, so it's quite fun. It's going to make each print look quite personal and different, I guess. So absolutely no idea how it's going to look. I guess you could at any point you want it, just flip that plate over and you'll get a better idea, because obviously looking at it from the reversed angle would mean that you would see your black and white drawing layer, you know, transferred and appearing on the top, as it were. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If you just flip it over, you'll get a better idea. So yeah, just trying some ideas. I dropped some water in there, damping that off with a tissue, just to create a bit of texture really. Trying not to disturb the initial layer of drawing transfer that I put down first. Alright, let all of that dry. Inking up, I've got some buff in the sky, got some titanium white down on the land, and just roll that out, and I'm going to use this wet layer to pull the print, see how it looks. Interesting to add, I'm using Amsterdam acrylics here to pull this print out. You know, I've read in a lot of threads that Amsterdam acrylics are quite popular for gel printing, so I thought I'd get a few colours, see how it works. And definitely it's a heavy body, but they're quite soft as well, and really good for pulling multiple dry layers off with that one layer. I'm finding, you know, I'll report back in future videos to how it works with things like magazine transfer and photo transfer. I haven't actually tried that yet, but yeah, I'm impressed so far. So cheers for anyone who's commented on types of paints. I do read all the threads and getting a lot from them, so thank you very much for that. Right, so inked up, get some paper just to sort of it's a torn edged paper. I'm just to kind of break those edges. You know, you probably realised if you've seen my other videos, I don't really like the kind of harsh edge you get on gel plate if you ink right to the edges, so I like just breaking it slightly with some torn paper. And obviously I can't spend too long on this because my white and my buff layer is going to dry so much it won't actually pull my print. So paper down on top. I'm pulling this off with, I think it's like 180 GSM cartridge paper, nice and thick, so it won't crease or anything when I pull it off. And lots of pressure, made sure it's made contact, leave that for 10 minutes or so. Another great tip I got in the threads, you know, someone put somewhere, if it's still cold to touch, it's still wet, so wait for it. So 10 minutes has elapsed there, and it wasn't cold to touch anymore, and pulling that print up. So you'll see with this, it's a bit of a muddy print, but it kind of it worked. It's told me enough about the technique that certainly working with the smooth side of watercolour paper is going to retain my drawing. I'm also going to get an interesting texture from the paper itself, and then you've got some freedom to colour as you please. Okay, a quick reminder then, 70 GSM copier paper, fantastic as long as your drawing is fairly simple. I'll just replay this so that serves as a good reminder. You can see already there are holes where I pressed so hard in parts of this transfer, but it held up okay, so a simple drawing is going to work. Definitely though, heavier paper, 240 GSM cartridge, 300 GSM watercolour paper worked pretty well. Okay, there you go. Hope you enjoyed the video. Plenty to think about. You know, I've been incorporating this technique with other drawing techniques I've kind of developed on the gel plate as well, using oil pastel as a resist, bit of mixing with paper collagraph. So again, look out for videos coming up looking at those techniques. Also, for those of you, and I know not everybody you know, is as confident perhaps as I am with drawing, so there is another video coming up just for you guys with ideas on how you can use photographic images combined with this emboss drawing technique. Alright, remember, subscribe if you got something from the video. You get your notifications, so you know you won't miss out on videos when I release them, and shows a bit of support for the channel as well. Remember, like, share. I love the comments below. So many interesting conversations developing that all feedback. Give me a bit of direction about what you guys want to see, and also like put me right on a few things, because I'm actually quite new to this gel plate business. I'm kind of learning along with some of you as well. Alright, take it easy. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye bye.